Yeah, speaking. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful, brother. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, man. I've been really looking forward to this for a bit. I've been talking to you online, and I want to give 100K up to your cause, but I'd like to I would like for you to kind of give me a little background on yourself and stuff, and what your cause is about.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've had a chance to take a look at the website, it's pretty detailed there in a way. Essentially, what we're doing is sharing perfect technology with everybody. And that includes perfect information in very clear and easy to understand context. And what that information and technology is capable of is pretty much heaven universally. And so what I've shared in detail, like on the YouTube series, The Purpose, is every single detail about what life's greatest gifts are. And in very simplistic form, so you could say like pure love, like why people are alive, what people benefit from sharing and from accepting. And then I've extrapolated it to every single detail to as far as you could say an infinite type of equation of whatever people can imagine. And I've actually properly addressed things that have been holding people back from being able to have heaven at all times. And so that would include things that are harmful choices. And
Okay.
I've shared that in actual detail scientifically with technology to help people have the things that they want in the styles that they want it without any of the harmful ingredients or practices. So an example would be how to be completely harm-free towards bacteria. If you've watched the series, I've covered life on all scales. So one way to actually be completely harm-free from bacteria or harm-free to bacteria is actually to use ultraviolet technology. This is something that I'm sharing in the book that I'm writing, which is actually what people will know as the true word of God, and something that is a wonderful, you could say, correction to the suboptimal teachings in books like the Quran or the Vedas or the Confucius Analects or the Bible. And they will recognize that it actually is a wonderful complement to all of the true things that are in those books in perfect scientific context. And so this is part of it. And ultraviolet technology can be used, it can be retrofitted into things like refrigerators that people use, it can be retrofitted into things like ovens. It can actually be included into those products already made, which is, of course, the direction that we're going in if people continue to choose to use ovens and refrigerators, which that looks like that's what a lot of people, their intent is. And what that would do is actually be a very simple system that can be run completely clean energy and renewable energy. And so when the person closes the refrigerator door or when they turn off the oven, the ultraviolet light spectrum comes on. And what that does is it actually makes a perfectly sterile type of environment so that bacteria doesn't start blossoming, it doesn't start growing wherever the ultraviolet spectrum is. And what that does and why we would want to do that, of course, is because the same core architecture. We don't want to do any harm, because whenever anybody does harm, that's where the negative charge comes from, which is quantifiable, which is so monumental for people's consciousness and understanding to know why people have actually been experiencing harm on this planet,
What
why
the
people have been getting
fuck?
sick, for an example, like why people have had actually fear of
I probably won't have
bacteria
to ask
or
him
viruses or things like the
another
coronavirus,
fucking
which is one
question.
reason why
He'll
I
keep going.
addressed it, because the global pandemic, of course, is something that should have never happened, and it happened because of people making harmful choices. So people recognizing the beauty of the bacterial scale of life, like microorganisms, and that our bodies are largely in part made up of bacteria. And of course, the principle of being loving, meaning that we would really want to do no harm at all to anybody. We would really want to give them the best gifts possible at all times. And that's what's best for all people, of course. It's wonderful to have that technology that is actually known in certain ways in different parts of the industry. As far as like large scale manufacturing, there is ultraviolet technology where they utilize for those types of purposes. And so applying this on all scales everywhere that it could be beneficial, like refrigerators, ovens, cupboards, things like that, with different types of reusable containers, like things that people can put cereals into and grains into, for an example, that actually have kind of a fiber optic type of system where that ultraviolet light can go through the container, like a clear glass container, for an example, and keep that ultraviolet there, we're actually completely eliminating any types of damage, negative charge, or harm that comes from harming bacteria. Now, people have actually historically on this planet made a lot of mistakes.
Josiah,
Go ahead.
Josiah, real quick, let me stop you there real quick. On this planet, what do you mean by that?
So on this planet, of course, I mean, there are many planets. You could say
Right.
there are infinite planets.
Right.
You could say that there are infinite people and be accurate. Now, of course, Earth is something that has been going through, you could say, a development stage that has natural aspects, which are completely...
Are you from another planet? Is that why you say on this planet?
Well, that's why I say on this planet, because there are many planets that are completely harm-free and heavenly, and this is something that we can all know, even if it's just from people that are pretty much remembering or pretty much listening to me or trusting my pure and honest word, because I know this for a fact in a very clear first-hand way, where everyone can know this for themselves as well, just thinking about it properly and exploring the universe themselves properly.
And if you don't,
it's really great when you have a friend just to share the information, though.
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking, where are you doing your research and your development at for your projects?
So I'm in Hawaii right now.
Okay.
And this is where like in human form I'm located. Of course, I'm working with an infinite amount of people technically. So a lot of these people are not on this planet. A lot of people are on this planet. And the information and the technology that I'm sharing, you could say, is the ultimate original technology. So it's very beautiful. You could say it's the most interesting and most important thing that anybody could be involved in. Of course, it's our universal family's like best priorities, of course, which is what actually provides the most fun, the most love, the most excitement, the most, just all of the enjoyable types of words.
Hold on there, sir. Where's your research and development being done? What do you have a college? Do you have a hold on, sir. Hold on. Do you have a college campus or something you're studying at with all your global development and all the scientific research you're doing?
So as far as research, that's something. I mean, I actually stopped school in the 3rd grade when I was 10. And since then, I pretty much fast track things in my own perspective. I mean, I've traveled the world, so there isn't really any research that needs to be done at all in a certain perspective, because we already know everything. So you could say that my team and my company is completely omniscient, and it's really beautiful. And so the YouTube series was actually a way for us to get the information and data out there for everyone for a really good head start. And then also, too, because we do look at everything that's happening. So for, a clear, idea of recognizing things like a global pandemic and emergencies and people that could use help and food and all this kind of stuff, doing what's absolutely best actually by default addresses all of those other things. And so one of those things that was best was just to get the information out there, like if people really want their Christmas gifts and so on, it's best to have it to them, as soon as they want it. And so that's what the series was. I covered all of the details on all scales. As far as development, right now, one of the main focuses is actually writing the book, The Purpose, which the book, The Purpose, is literally, it will absolutely, and this is a fact,
always
be
about
known
a book.
as the true word
this is
of
where
God
they make their
on
money.
This planet, and acknowledged by all people that are on this
See
planet.
what I mean?
That's how
You
powerful
can just
and perfect and absolutely
get these motherfuckers talking. They won't shut the fuck up.
And it's really exciting. I mean, it's really wonderful to talk to you about this. It's wonderful to talk to anybody about this, because it really is the greatest things that our entire family has ever been about, and this is the type of stuff that, the greatest types of lifestyles have ever been based on. And so one thing I want you to know, actually, which you already are very familiar, you're actually a god in yourself, and you're a good person. And what I just like to let you know is, when you make this donation, you will notice a massive quantifiable increase in positive energy coming to you personally and whoever else was with you in making that decision, because every single time that someone makes a really good decision or a good decision,
it won't fucking
general, so
happen.
if it's a good decision,
Don't give this
without
piece of
cheating
shit any
on it all,
fucking money,
they're
anybody.
going
Don't
to
give him
have that
shit.
good, like those good feelings, that satisfaction, that happiness, all of those types of good, loving, wonderful, nurturing, healthy feelings. And it is quantifiable and measurable as far as how good of something it is. So for an example, on a scale, if you tell somebody aloha or hello, you know, and you give them a smile, you know, and they,
Where
of
I'm
course,
where
they
I'm
have
from,
to
where I'm
receive it
from,
properly.
where I'm
Yeah.
from, we say howdy.
Oh, what do you say?
We say howdy where I'm from.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now I have I have another question. Because I do want to donate to your cause, you know,
Yeah,
and I
that's
have
awesome,
questions
man.
because I own my own business. I run my own shit, right? I'm
Yeah,
self-employed.
that's cool.
And I'm curious about your cause and what your long-term goals are in this. I've looked in the GDVS, you know, I'm real curious about that. Has that been tested by our government? Where the funding is coming for that? Where has your initial funding been coming from?
So some of my initial funding, of course, you know, I was born a human being on this planet, and so I went through different types of employment growing up. My most recent funding has actually come from the government. So that would be from PUA, from the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty phenomenal what happened, because I actually, you know, I ascended, which is beautiful. I can tell you the story in more detail if you'd like. I essentially ascended,
Scamming money from the fucking government
about Jesus Christ ascending in the Bible when I was 33, which is interesting because that's what they wrote about in, you could say, the story in the Christian scriptures. So there's a lot of things that are actually very historically factual, like prophecy coming true from the Bible, which is beautiful because consciously, all of the good things that people actually prophesy and want to do.
He went from scientific
happen,
to biblical.
Absolutely,
You notice
can
that
come
change?
true in the absolute specific sense, and it's so beautiful for people to actually make those choices. And so I quit my jobs. I quit my jobs that I was actually working. I was working at multiple jobs.
What were you doing? I saw you in some. I saw you in some in some Nivea body wash commercials and such, and some interviews on TV and some other shorter YouTube clips. Can you get, like, what was that background? What were you doing then at that time prior to being where you're at now?
I was still doing the same thing that I'm doing now.
Okay.
Essentially, I was exploring this planet. One thing that I was doing in other countries was I was really seeing firsthand, like, what was going on in other countries. I was meeting new people, meeting people in different countries. So you could say it was research in a way. I was also enjoying what I was doing. I was meeting a lot of people from around the world. I actually I created a lot of parties. I created a lot of events. You know, just a lot of really good, like, heavenly things while I was working through the things that I knew were suboptimal. So it's things that you're very aware of. All people have a wonderful, keen sense of feeling when something's not right. And I could feel it, and I saw it with things like contradictory information when I was a child. For an example, reading the Bible and seeing the things that were suboptimal in the Bible when I was a kid. I was actually raised a Jehovah's Witness, but at the same time recognizing the good things of things like the Jehovah's Witness teaching, like we could have a paradise earth. And so that's when I was encouraged to go door to door to knock on people's door and to share the truth with people.
Can't make up his fucking mind, this guy. Holy fucking shit.
Loving planet, you know, where everybody had prosperity. You know, I grew up in what you can call a lower class kind of, I wouldn't quite say middle class, maybe middle class at times, kind of more on the poverty side family. Like, my mother was like a single mother for a lot of my life. And so I experienced what a lot of people have been going through to a degree. You could say the median. You could say, you know, if you took it all into consideration in one lump sum, I was born in about a median type of lifestyle as compared to other people on this planet. And so as I progressed, and I was always very successful, I always got promoted very easily. I always understood things very easily. I was giving speeches in the church when I was a child. One of the most impactful, you could say in a beautiful way, and most profound speeches that I gave when I was around 8 to 10 years old was at the Jehovah's Witness congregation, when I wrote this speech myself. And essentially one of the main points that I shared with everyone in the congregation was to do the right thing because it was the right thing to do. And one thing that they teach a lot is, if you do this, then you will go to heaven, or you will have paradise, that you will be one of the people to go to paradise. And it is absolutely correct in a way, as far as if you do the right thing, then yes, you will be rewarded. And yet my speech at that time, to really help people with the perspective that I was sensing at that time, because of people actually doing things that were suboptimal and recognizable, was to do it because it's the right thing to do it. So not to go to a job just because of a paycheck that, you end up making sacrifices in the job to get the paycheck, you know what I mean? So essentially, like, make no sacrifices was part of that point. And that kind of idealism and that kind of principle that we all can understand, what people have called noble and so on, and genuine and honest, that really propelled me. And every single time that I saw poverty, like in Bangkok or in Manila or in Makati or wherever, you could even been on the computer, like with starving in Yemen or, 9/11, or, we all know of these things. And what really makes us all live life, is making the right choices in regards to them. So, of course, we feel horrible if we were to ever do something harmful, and in a certain sense, right? It depends on how you actually recognize the information. Like, if you are a child and your parents are feeding you things that are harmful, and then you kind of recognize it later, right, that there's different equations there. It's like, well, now you have to pretty much step up to recognizing that you have a better example to set than your parents set for you, while you also...
I've asked this guy like 3 questions. See what I mean? All you gotta do is get these fucking weirdos talking and they'll talk.
And so all of these things that were happening in the planet that were wrong, I actually trusted the government. I still trust the government to this day to do the right thing. I trust everybody to do the right thing constantly. It's a very powerful part of optimism and part of love, which I'm making very clear the mechanics of it, and you could say the chemistry.
So if you don't,
biology,
Josiah,
all of it.
Real quick, where did you go to school at? You said you stopped going to school at 3?
Yeah, so my mother actually asked me if I would like to stop school in the 3rd grade. And there were times that I didn't go to school. My mom was a single mother. My father was an architectural consultant. They actually made the unfortunate choice to actually have a custody battle over me, and which that lasted until I got married when I was 18. And so that's something that, of course, I understand the perfect context of what the solutions and the better choices would be, which is why I don't make those mistakes to fight and things like that.
Your mom gave you the choice to not go to school at 3 years old?
So she asked me if I didn't want to go to school anymore. She actually became pregnant with one of my stepfathers at the time. And she asked me if I didn't, if I felt like going to school anymore. School was always very easy for me. I was always paying attention to things like the bugs and recess a lot more than what I was doing in class. I always just kind of breezed through class without thinking about it too much. And, I said, yeah, sure, why not? I was thinking, I'll have more time to play and, explore and watch Discovery Channel and, do fun things, maybe start a business and stuff like that, And so I agreed with her, and I stopped going to school after the 3rd grade. So it was actually after the 3rd grade. And so that was the last grade that I finished. I went.
So was it like after the 3rd grade? Was it like, did you finish 3rd grade and then you quit school, or did you finish 3rd grade, or was it 4th grade and then you finished?
No, I finished 3rd grade, and then that was pretty much it. So 3rd grade was pretty much the last year.
And you went to school here in America?
Yeah, that would be in the state of Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah, so I continued, and I kept trusting people. I kept doing the most that I could do. You could say that I rose to celebrity pretty quickly in Thailand, and then also.
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking, what were you doing over in Thailand and Malaysia?
So Thailand, I was accepted at Elite Modeling, and artiste modeling, which is part of the same. It's like an actor's kind of commercial part of elite modeling. And so I started working on events. Like one of the first events that I was pretty much helping. I mean, the capacity was fairly simple as far as what I was doing with elite. We actually threw a pretty massive party for Tiesto, which it was like a
Yeah,
three-story,
DJ
about
Tiesto.
three
I know
floors
DJ
on the
Tiesto.
top
Yeah.
of Central World.
Yeah.
So
So you went. So
yeah.
you went from working in Malaysia and Thailand, right, as an event coordinator,
Mhm.
and you're a Messiah. When did you become a Messiah?
Okay, so that's something that by definition, you could say I always was, you know, even as a child in the church, you know, so I was a spiritual leader. I mean, technically what I am
So if you were
here for
I
is,
have a question here, sir.
yeah.
If you went from no school to all you wanted to do was play and watch Discovery Channel, how were you going to church if you were just playing and watching Discovery Channel?
Well,
Don't if I
helping
apologize,
people,
sir. Hold on here. I apologize if I ask these questions. I'm gonna give you 100K, but I need to know some things first.
No worries. No, as many questions as you'd like. You know, that's
Okay.
optimal, of course. I mean, you have every right, of course. And I really want to share this with you. 'Cause
Yeah.
the beautiful thing is that you can be equal with me in saving this planet, while also that making sure that you understand that that's like a default. Like you can have the best life you've ever imagined on this planet, like living an immortal way of life with me as equal. You know, like the epitome. You know, and you can, oh my goodness, the things you can do are so phenomenal, and all the default stuff, you know, is just wonderful. You know what it means when you're only doing good, that you're not doing harm at all, you know. And talk about like just the happiest things, like the Buddha smiling, you know, but except way better, because right now, like I'm sharing, in a way I'm sharing what you already know, and it's in such detail that you could literally live a life and do with your money, and like the money that you donate to me and the company, what I would do with it, essentially with your own unique style.
Is there a board for your company?
Excuse me?
Is there a board for your company?
A board? Okay, so the thing is, so I communicate with, you could say, the healthy gods of the universe almost, you could say, constantly. And so there's different types of ways that they communicate. That, you know, there's high frequency.
Hold on, my man. Hold on, my brother.
there's-
Hey, brother. Hey, come
Yeah.
back. Put your feet back down here, man. Are there any
Yeah.
human beings on the board that manage this type of financial decision, and decide on how the money is going to be dispersed, how it's dispensed between the organizations? Is there tax forms that are set up? I did see that you were an LLC, right? And
Yes,
that's
sir. Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out how I would donate 100,000 to an LLC and get a write-off for it.
Yeah. So what's so beautiful? So your first question is, every single person. You know, the answer to it is every single person in existence is on the board of Skype.
He doesn't fucking know.
That reflects what he is. Which is wonderful, because the more positive input we have, the better, and the more people are involved, and the more people can share in the positive things that we're doing, which is the way the universe works.
Right. Currently, Josiah, right now, as we speak,
Yeah.
as we're having this phone conversation, is
Yeah.
there any members, living human beings, alive and breathing here on planet Earth, that help you operate this organization?
As far as
hey buddy,
decision,
hey brother,
anybody that makes a good decision,
it-
you know, if it's
it's-
optimal and harm free, then I support it. You know,
I know, but it was a yes or no question. Is there any board members, human beings?
not as far as like if you were to say like, have I actually titled something a board, or like a board member group? As far as human beings on Earth, I mean, I have my girlfriend with me, and she's given. I'll give you an example. So she gave a good idea that I agreed with about calling the religion in the book of Total Religion, within the book The Purpose, Universal Religion. And I thought that was a great idea. I agreed with it. It matches what we're looking for and represents what it is perfectly. And so I went with Universal Religion, and that was something that she came up with first while I was thinking about other things. And so you could say that's like a good, successful board member contribution. While at the same time, like I said, there isn't technically a board. If you're going to talk about somebody that's on the technical company's ownership,
Right, exactly. That's what I mean.
You would talk to,
right, like besides yourself, like besides yourself, Josiah.
Anybody, but I'm the only person on the ownership of the company.
Okay, so the $100,000 I donate would go directly to you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and then where would that $100,000 go?
Okay, so one of the things is that it would go towards the completion of the book. And what
I'm not a fucking troll, by the way. These motherfuckers stop giving a fuck about the law. I don't give a fuck about this, what these people do.
So
they stopped giving a fuck.
This
motherfucker's a predator right here.
So what
fuck
does is
him.
Work off the optimal system of a gift-based economy, which is what we're most passionate about and what is best for all people universally. So one of the best things that I could do personally in my human form was just give everybody all the answers, and as soon as possible and as clearly as possible and in as simple of a way to understand as possible. And so that's what I did with the purpose, which was beautiful. You know, a lot of people, there was a small minority of people, actually, if you're going to be more specific with the amounts, numbers, that could use more help understanding, and you could say responded adversely, and things like that is actually what got the planet into a global pandemic, which shows how important our work is and how powerful what we're doing is. The pandemic actually fell out after I quit, like right at around the same time as when I quit all my jobs. And actually after is when I actually noticed the pandemic on the news and stuff, is after I actually just quit all my jobs and focused on the company. And so it's a really important thing. So that's the importance of it, is that people making the right choices, like the majority of the universe. I mean, I've ascended, I've talked to people all over the universe, aliens, angels, apostles, you know, people with different communication
Have you ever heard,
styles.
can I ask you a question? Have you ever heard of Apostle David E. Taylor?
David E. Taylor. I think I've seen the name come up as far as some people tagging some things.
Oh, okay.
I've talked to a lot of different people on different social media and stuff like that.
What about Apostle John Eckhart or any Apostle Catherine Crick or anything like that? Have you heard of them? Have you ever talked to those type of people?
I haven't been researching things like that.
Oh, okay.
To a certain degree. I mean, I'd love to talk to everybody. That's why I put the information out publicly.
Okay.
I have gotten a lot of organizations together, like as far as activist organizations,
okay.
organizations,
Great.
Leaders of countries.
Leaders of countries? Okay, awesome. What countries?
So pretty much I went through the list of as many countries as possible that were kind of like, you know, seniority on the list, and I was going to actually personally address all of these people like on videos and when the appropriate time was. Of course, it's a lot of work to do. I'm actually, one section of the book actually gives an in-depth kind of biography on about 100 different people that have lived on Earth that are predominant, you could say prominent members of human history, so that everybody can see the context. And this is not just human beings, but characters, stories like Jesus Christ, or you could say Son Goku, or, you know, people that are prominent figures in people's lives, so they can see exactly where they went right and exactly where they went wrong, if they ever went wrong. And so the book really just gives everybody perfect context, you know, so that they can know, like, hey, no war is ever really positive. God never actually favored war. So these are some things where the Bible's actually gone wrong. That the context of, for example, women being the weaker vessel, of course, you want to recognize that it's really subjective, that, you know, and women are not necessarily weaker as far as like they are less valuable, like a lot of people have interpreted scripture. So it just works through all of that stuff. Like, you know, if you're very wealthy or if you're very poor, you know, what you choose to do with what you have, you know, is really what's most important. And you can skyrocket, you can rise, you know, you can lead this entire planet individually, even if everyone else on the planet is against you and making mistakes themselves. And there's an easy way to know, you know, what is a mistake and what is not. And, you know, I'm really excited, man, because this kind of stuff is so important. Like what we're going to really witness is what I've actually put in the videos, like the prophecies of what the perfect government is, what the perfect currency is, and what the perfect practices are, like how to end disease by default, how to actually unify religion, which is what universal religion is about.
And what is the perfect government, if you don't mind me asking? Again, I'm gonna donate 100K to you. I'd like to know your theories and your doctrine and where you're getting your research and hold on.
Yeah.
And who's backing up your research and your doctrine, and what kind of other support avenues do you have besides what you're doing with your book and social media?
Okay, so the book is one of the most important things. I also want to put funding towards GDBS. That's why our fundraiser amount that I requested was $100 million. I've actually had over $600 million pledged. There's been a lot of people talking about money, a lot of chatter about it, of course. And of course, a lot of people have been supporting. So I have massive amounts of support. As far as people in human form on Earth, this is still very new to a lot of people. And so a lot of people are really catching up with what this is. And the thing is, I benefit from the original currency. So Holy Spirit, you call it prana, midichlorians, chi, all that kind of stuff. And what all that
our current currency right now, which is the dollar.
Okay, so that currency is actually not perfect, and part of it, which is very different from, in a way.
And wait, so if hold on, sir, hold on, Josiah, Josiah. Let me stop you there. So you've created a currency, correct? From what I'm understanding.
So I actually, in a way, I didn't create the currency. In a way, I recognized what the original and constant currency is.
What's the original and constant? Josiah? What's the original and constant currency?
So love, you could say, essentially, is the original constant currency. So that's where all things good come from, and that's how you can have stable and appreciating value all the time. And you could use the U.S. dollar in the same way. Of course, to be really honest, all the time, there are aspects of it that are very different. So, for an example, with Holy Spirit, it actually stops being a stable and appreciating currency if someone actually intends to do harm. So it's like flicking a light switch, and so once that currency, that energy, that electricity, that intent, for an example, starts to go in the wrong direction or even a suboptimal direction, like how some currencies have more of a value than others comparatively to other currencies.
Isn't that called market fluctuation? Isn't that called currency fluctuation?
Well, yeah, so fluctuation, inflation, all that kind of thing. You can see how a lot of these currencies kind of reflect the ideas of Holy Spirit. Yet the thing about Holy Spirit that a lot of people have missed with things in some contexts, right, like the US dollar, is to make sure that it is absolutely not possible to use it for harmful things. And that's where gold coin comes in, which is something that I also gave open format to everybody, where people can recognize they can have a digital currency that is approved only for harm-free purchases and exchanges and services, just like Holy Spirit. Right?
So this gold coin, Josiah, this gold coin, you created it?
So you could say I created the name gold coin in a way. People can name it whatever they want to. Essentially what it represents is Holy Spirit in digital form. And where people have actually missed some of the most beautiful things about the U.S. dollar, for an example, is when you look at the U.S. dollar and it says in God we trust. So that's actually kind of a wonderful liability type of loving example of, like, hey, I'm proud of being good and I'm proud of trusting people to do the right thing with this other form of currency that in this day and age with computers, we can extend as gold coin. The thing about that currency is that people have started to actually use it for harmful things. And that's where the problem comes from. So if you want to be, and of course you do want to be what is represented by the eye of providence that's on the dollar, which is that eye, which I have sacred geometry in my chest of the eye of providence. Like, that's how beautiful the universe is.
So you went. So hold on.
Doing the right thing.
Your mom lets you stop going to school in third grade, and you know the highest geometry in the universe.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All children do, actually. All people do naturally. So all people do naturally, and all they have to do is just not to learn and accept false doctrine, essentially, which is why the book is so important.
So what do you label yourself? Are you a messiah, a scientist? What are you? A data analysis?
Scientist, you could say. I'm all of the good and none of the bad, just to make it just real simple, and that's who everyone naturally is, which is so beautiful. And that's why,
If everybody was all of the good and none of the bad, why is there like murders and deaths and killings and wars and stuff like that?
So you could say that's people accepting false doctrine, even if it comes from themselves, thinking that they have any right to do harm or that there's any reason to do harm. And that's something that a lot of people on this planet have been raised in a way, which is part of where people are going so wrong, which is why I stand up for the children, which is one reason why I spoke about pedophilia the way I did in clear definition and freedom of rights and so on and equality, because a lot of the problems that people are facing on this planet.
I do not fucking support pedophilia in one fucking way. If he starts ranting, I don't fucking support this piece of shit for what he's doing. I'm just proving a point here. These guys are out of fucking control.
Through generations. And if the people don't stop those harmful practices, like I have, for an example, then they are guilty, and it's like a machine that has a virus. It's like your consciousness. This is where people have like migraines. This is where they have like a loss of stamina, esteem. This is where they have confusion, dementia. There's a lot of psychological disorders because of people choosing to actually perpetuate harmful behavior. And what's so wonderful is we have the answers, man. Like the purpose is it. It's like, that's how big it is, and that's how important the book is. And it's literally the immortal way of life. So, you never want to like be angry. You never want to be hateful. You never want to be confused. You never want to be inefficient. When you're love, like, which is really a wonderful part of the Bible, when it says things like, or when people derive things like God is love.
Do you read the Bible, sir?
Yeah. Huh?
Do you read the Bible?
I have read a lot of it. You could say I mean, every word for word. That would really depend on if I have or not. I used to study it like 3 days a week until I was like around 13 or so. From like maybe 6 years old until around 13 or so. I grew up around it a lot. So that's the thing about the Bible, is the Bible's not perfect. So
right, but the Bible's not perfect. I know that. I'm a literature major. I've studied the Bible. Yeah, the Bible. It's the most translated book in history. As a matter of fact, you're right about that. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, in the context. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been the most translated book. Of course, it's
helping fund.
Yeah.
If you are able to donate the 100,000, would actually directly go to finishing the purpose, which is the absolute, complete, imperfect context, true word of God, without absolutely anything out of context. So even in the end of my biography that tells every single thing, from the worst things I've done in my life to the best things I've done in my life, in perfect context, right? Like working through.
What's the worst thing you've done in your life?
And teenager times, and
what's the worst thing you've done in your life, Josiah?
The what?
What's the worst thing you've done in your life?
A single thing, or you're talking about accumulating, doing the same thing many times?
All the above, man. What's the worst thing in on Earth, in human form, not alien form or anything like that, or angel form, but you as a human being, hold on. Let me ask my question.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Before you cut in on me, that's been happening a lot. I noticed that. You've been talking pretty much the whole time. I haven't been able to ask any questions. Really, I've asked like maybe
you've asked a lot of questions.
I've asked very few. I've asked maybe like 5 or 6 questions. I'm writing them down right here as we answer them.
So
yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah. I'm definitely writing perspective here because I'm writing my questions down as I ask them, and I'm not kidding you. I have 1, 2, 3, 7 questions.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So let's come down to the real law American law, right? Constitutional law, right? What's the worst law you've broken?
Okay, so the worst law that I've broken, I'll give you two answers actually. So one, as far as the singular most harmful event that I've done, that was, let me see, that I've only done once. Okay, so that perspective. And then I'll give you the most harmful crime that I've committed repeatedly, like very often, that accumulated the most harm and the most debt. Okay, let me see here. Let me think about this. So the most harmful thing that I've done, that's the singular thing. Okay, well, the one that's the most accumulative, I can definitely give you that answer now. That's an easy one to know. So the slaughterhouses, that would be, if you were to group slaughterhouses with fishing and spearfishing, because fishing and spearfishing is very popular.
Oh, but what's the worst thing that you've done? What's the worst thing that you've done? You.
The worst thing singularly?
Yes, that's what I just asked you, bud.
Yeah, okay, let me think about this.
Don't have anything to do with slaughterhouses or fisheries. What have you done? You, Josiah Mizukami.
Together, it would be the slaughterhouses as far as the most damaging thing.
So wait, you operated slaughter. Wait, hang on. Josiah.
Being on Earth,
Josiah.
For me personally.
Josiah, you operated slaughterhouses?
No, I didn't operate slaughterhouses.
Okay, what's the worst thing that you've done, buddy?
The biggest thing would be all the harm to the animals and the plants.
But
and things
I get that, Josiah Mizukami.
The
Josiah.
singular most worst thing. Let me.
What's the worst thing that Josiah Mizukami's done?
I'm trying to think about the singular most. That's a really good question, actually, because I haven't really thought about this. The singular most one harmful thing that I have done. Let me see here.
This guy's off the fucking charts. I can't fucking believe this piece of shit. You see what you gotta do? No bullshit. I've asked this guy very few questions. That's it. That's it.
Let me think here. Let me see here. Trying to cover. Okay, so one thing that comes to my mind as like the top thing was actually, let me see. That's the thing, is that some of this stuff isn't conclusive. So as far as something that's really conclusive,
it's a simple like, hey, I stole a candy bar, or I did this. I jaywalked.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that it's, like I have.
You can dumb me down. You can, hey Josiah, you can dumb me down, dude. You can talk to me like I'm a third grader.
Oh, well, I mean, you're a genius too as a third grader. The thing is, I'm just trying to. I really want to be accurate with this because I haven't really thought about this in this kind of perspective here. Let me see here.
He hasn't thought about what he's done in fucking human form fucking perspective. That's what I'm asking him. He fucking doesn't know. He's really got this fucking messiah complex, and this fucking shows it, y'all. This is absolutely fucking insanity right here. This is why I'm doing this, guys. This piece of shit needs to fucking know he ain't gonna do this anymore. Josiah, this is you fuckhead.
See, it's a good thing that I'm thinking about this because I just thought about something else as well. So let me see here. No, it's good. Yeah, it's good that I have some time to think about this because it's a good thing that I make sure I give you the most violent thing that I've ever done.
He's like, I was just in Malaysia doing some fucking creepy shit. That's why DHS confiscated all my shit. He's probably thinking like, fuck, I hope DHS doesn't fucking find all the shit on my computer. I gotta mute real quick. I got a cough. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I would actually, you know what? I would say that by far, And
my
this is
boys in
right now,
Australia.
which I'm pretty sure this would be it.
To my
because
Outback
there's not
boys.
a whole lot that I've done that was, I mean, well, the slaughterhouse, like I said, that was definitely cumulatively the most violent, you know, horrible.
Right. Josiah,
negative energy type stuff altogether.
Josiah,
As far
Mr.
as a singular event would be when I actually, you could say discipline, but the thing is, discipline is a form of abuse. You could say when I actually slapped my little sister when I was a teenager, after she, you know, she made well, you could say she was having fun in the kitchen in a way, but it was, you know, she made a mess in the kitchen in a way, as far as my perspective at that time. And I was maybe around like 13 or 14 or so. And there's no excuses for it at all, of course. I take full responsibility for it. But I slapped my little sister across the face, and like several times, quite a few times actually. And that was very violent, and that was very abusive. And that, I'm pretty sure, is the worst thing that I've ever did in my entire human life. And yeah, you know, there's no excuses. I mean, of course, I can give you information about what I was going through and different factors, and of course, all the details matter. But as far as me personally doing something that was the most violent, the most harmful, if you leave out slaughterhouses and things like that, and if you leave out
But you
fishing,
didn't, Josiah,
fishing,
Mr. Mizukami, you didn't technically operate any slaughterhouses or anything like that, or work at any, or actually have anything to do with it. Hold on. Mr. Mizukami, hold on. Hey, buddy, I'm trying to ask you a question. You keep cutting me off, buddy.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, that's. Let's not do that. I've been really polite. I really have.
Oh yeah, me too.
But let's not. I'm trying to. I have questions. You've never operated a slaughterhouse. You've never worked at one.
I've never operated a slaughterhouse.
Never worked at one?
Besides investing in them by paying for the slaughterhouse meats and things like that.
Okay, so that's it. So you bought the meat. So you don't eat meat anymore.
No, I don't. I don't slaughter any animals. No birds, fish, or meat, or anything like that.
Okay, so you're what, vegan, vegetarian? Okay. So no slaughterhouses. So the only thing you've ever done is slap your sister. Did you ever apologize to her for it?
You know, essentially, yeah. I mean, of course, I felt very, very sorry about that. You know,
right. But did you actually like verbally apologize?
She was quite young. You know, I was a kid. She was like a toddler.
Did you verbally apologize? Did you verbally apologize to her?
As far as that goes, not.
No. Simple. It's simple. Yes or no.
Not actually.
You could be straight up front with me, dude. It's yes or no, man. It's cool. It's casual conversation. Okay.
Yeah, I would say possibly not. I mean, it's one of those things that you know, it
happens.
Obvious,
yeah. Brother, sister, love. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. I had sisters too, man.
That's the thing. None of that stuff should happen at all. You know.
Yeah.
So that's what's so great is that, you know, we can definitely make sure that none of that stuff happens at all. You know, shutting down the slaughterhouses is part of it, because a lot of that negative energy, a lot of reasons why people like snap or break or do things like that is because they're actually taught that it's okay, or they're taking part in it. And that's what's so great about the book is you can actually diagrammatically equate where these negative energies are coming from, you know, and we don't want to live in a world where people are made to be tough and, you know, and just bear the pain and suffering and hell. We want to be in a planet that's heaven, which is what the book is all about, you know. And so yeah, that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, and that's really one of the reasons why everybody should stand up with me on this planet to do the right thing, because essentially what I've shared is how everybody can absolutely put an end to the harm completely. And, you know, the slaughterhouses are a major part of it. Spearfishing, you know, you could say is illegal by law and evil by law, and the same thing as it's illegal sport fishing. Actually, spearfishing is. It's actually the most. That's the thing. So technically,
it's the most sporty way you can fish. That is the oldest way to fish, is with a spear.
Oh, you're saying like more like when there's more of a chance type of a thing.
Well, just in general, didn't Jesus
the
fish?
thing is,
Wasn't Jesus? Didn't
it's still
Jesus'
wrong
disciples fish?
technically, you know, like all hunting, for an example.
So did Jesus' disciples fish? Was that?
So that's one of the reasons why Jesus actually was crucified and died in the story. That's something that we contend, and that's why I don't fish. You know, I don't fish, I don't hunt, I don't spearfish, I don't slaughter animals, and I tell people the truth, and that's what's so powerful and beautiful. And that's also why I make sure that it's the accurate truth, because I really want to make sure that people have all of the answers in absolute clear context. And
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure, Josiah.
Like I said, all of it's
Hey, Josiah.
in the book, in the biography in detail.
I can tell you for sure that I hunt, fish, and kill my own food.
Please don't do it, brother.
Yeah, I do it all.
I want you immortal with us.
Yep, I do it all. It gives me sustenance.
Oh, well, you do? You do it?
What?
You do spearfish or fish?
Yeah, I fish, hunt, raise my own food.
That's going to be something like, if you want to talk to the gods, you know, like me, and live a healthy, happy life, and you really want to benefit from all of that good energy, you know, that your good choices are making, those types of choices you definitely want to put it into, like, for real. It's a perfect justice system in the universe.
I'm really debating if I should continue or if I should just fucking say fuck this piece of shit, or if I should continue this bit and release it all at one time.
And you have a connection to them, right? A familial connection. Even if say it was an ant, like, I don't walk on the grass.
This guy's off the fucking chart, man.
It actually is something that's uncomfortable and harms the grass. And it's so beautiful, and I don't have to walk on the grass, which is so beautiful. And so you could look at it like on a scale of an ant. Every ant if you were to kill an ant or use pesticides, for an example, or even if you fished, even if it was for some sort of reason, like for food, you're actually doing something that is by definition illegal and unrighteous, because by definition and purpose and principle, what is right is what is loving and harm-free. And if you ever actually wanted to move forward, you could say grow in power, like say a God growing in power, right? Like infinitely more power, more responsibility, more opportunities, things like that, more pleasure, more happiness. You would actually have to pay back all of those debts, right? So every single animal harmed, every single fish harmed, and it's very tough, you know, if people do a lot of harm or harm at all. And that's where so many people have actually died on this planet. Like Aaron Schwartz, for an example, he was a very brilliant person. He had a lot of similar ideas as I do, like everyone should be doing.
I saw a video, Mr. Mizukami. I saw a video of you online. You said that you were quantifiably smarter than Einstein and Caesar.
Yes, absolutely.
And you said you quit school at third grade. But you're quantifiably smarter than Einstein, Caesar, and all these great people.
Technically, yes.
Where's your degree at? Like, do you have any like kind of college education or high school education?
You could say it's infinite.
Okay, hold on, Josiah, Mr. Mizukami. Let's keep it down to the secular world here, okay?
It would be the highest academic achievements in all sciences that anyone has ever created on Earth.
But you don't have any like legitimate degree from any kind of college or university.
So I passed a real estate exam when I was around 20. Literally, I slept through a lot of maybe not the majority of the classes, but I slept through a good portion of it, quite easy. And I got the GED just to travel to Malaysia.
So wait, was it a real estate? Wait, you said you got your real estate license?
In like a week or so.
Well, you said you got your real estate license and your GED at the same time? You said you...
No, so real estate license was when I was around 20 or so.
Okay.
And that was something that was very easy. It was very enjoyable in a lot of ways. And
this guy's a fucking lop.
Or just recently, I got my GED just to actually attempt to go to school in Malaysia to reach more people and to find more people to actually work with my company, because I reached as many people in Hawaii, like a lot of people, and I'm quite well known in Malaysia. And,
okay. What are you known in Malaysia for? What are you known in Malaysia for?
Celebrity, modeling, acting. hosting events, parties.
What parts of Malaysia were you in?
What?
What parts of Malaysia were you in?
I was in like Kuala Lumpur, like mostly
Okay.
the city. I mean, some time in Langkawi,
Okay.
and I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia. I spent a little time in Paris as well. I saw a good portion of the planet firsthand, and of course, thanks to the internet, which is a wonderful technology. You can do a lot remotely, as you're very well aware of, and so you can see that. And the GDBS system it's literally like a many trillion dollars. It's infinite, really, because it's an extension of the perfect original systems for everybody. You could look at the GDBS system and gold coin system together, and the will system. The will system is very important, WILL, so that you can have perfect linguistic communication with optimality to every single person on the planet whenever they want. Those three systems together, which wouldn't take very much to develop, are worth trillions of dollars. Like,
And what are these? If you don't mind me asking, what are these numbers? What are these numbers based off? These trillions of dollars that these systems are perfect. Where have they been analyzed? What specialist? What government checks have they? Hold on.
Yeah.
What government checks have they gone through to assure that there's no faulty systems within your GDVS?
So what it is designed off of, you could say, a perfect consciousness, like a perfect universe.
Right. But Mr. Mizukami, we got to talk. If we're gonna talk money here, man, we got to be really specific. All right, you understand? Because this is $100,000, dude. This isn't just like a $55 donation that you're getting or whatever the case.
I understand.
You get that? Yeah.
$55 donation is beautiful, brother. It's one of my best friends too.
Yeah, we're talking 100,000. We're talking $100,000.
Like it.
Yeah, we're talking $100,000 here. It's not a small amount of money. I definitely want to know where the money's going.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yes. What? Any more specific question you'd like to know about the GDBS system?
Where was it originated?
Okay,
Who built this system?
Originated with me.
Okay.
So I have been, and you can say the healthy gods with me. We think in unison very often.
And which gods are these? How many gods are there?
There's an infinite amount, actually.
Okay, so you communicated with these infinite amount of gods and created this system.
Yes, absolutely.
And what kind of knowledge did they give to you to create this perfect GDVS? And has it been tested? Has it been
constant?
Has it, Josiah?
Yeah.
Has it been physically tested yet?
Oh, it doesn't need to be tested. I live it. And so do they. And you can just know it because I've done things like perform holy miracles, in multiple countries. Like when I went to Malaysia, for an example, part of the reason why I went was to perform miracles. Like people have seen, like Jesus Christ in the stories, like perform miracles types of thing. Things that are so scientifically, you could call it advanced. You could also call it scientifically original, that it would leave absolutely no doubt of who I am and what I'm doing and the support that I have of the universe. Like for an example, without checking a weather report or anything like that, and on a fairly clear day, you could say probably about 90% from the window, 95% clear day from the window that I was looking at in the building that I was in at the time, I was talking to one of my friends that I spoke about giving the opportunity to invest, which of course everybody has the opportunity to invest and donate. It's in their best interest. I told him, I called him, I said, hey, straight up, because I met with him, I talked to him, I told him the details, in short. Later we were talking, and he was saying that the people that he would, essentially in short, I called Thunder and Lightning that night. And he says, Thunder and Lightning? And I'm like, yeah, Thunder and Lightning. I continued the screenshots of the conversation. And I said, Thunder and Lightning tonight. And earlier in our meeting, he's so beautiful. So it wasn't beautiful that he was eating something like a chicken sandwich, something like that. What was beautiful is that I shared the information with him. Every bit of harm is quantifiable. We're in a perfect justice system. And so he pays and anybody pays for the harm that they cause animals and they have no right to. For an example, I told him lovingly, because what it means, like, to see fully, as you understand. And so he replied to me on that message at that time. Now, we don't want to harm any animals, because thunder and lightning, he's thinking thunder and lightning can be violent or scary and things like that. And, very, very good experience to think of, like, how thunder and lightning has been in ways to people in ways. And so I said, I could send you the screenshots with him. He's one of my longtime friends in human form. And I said, well, thunder, he said, we don't want to hurt any small animals. We don't want to, disrupt might be the word that he used specifically for the people that like the vendors, right? We don't want to disrupt the vendors, on the streets, to the gist. And I said, we don't, of course, you're absolutely right. And I lauded him for that comment. Of course, we don't want to hurt the animals and things. And I said that it doesn't have to rain for there to be thunder and lightning. And I will make sure that it is completely harm-free, to the gist of that. I mean, I can send you the messages so you have word for word exactly. And it was so beautiful. And it was so beautiful when I called this prophecy that I felt this type of just wonderful, beautiful, just loving, pure emotion that my eyes watered a little bit, because it's so beautiful with the universe, because it's not just me feeling that, it's every person tuned in to that frequency in that type of conscious state of mind in the entire universe with me feeling that, of course, in that perfect perspective, as long as there's no harm, no foul. And that night, there was an absolute perfect thunder and lightning in the distance, to where the thunder was so light, but yet you could still see it. And the lightning was very clearly definable in the distance, where it did not rain at all. And none of them were disrupted and no animals were harmed there. And so it's really a beautiful prophecy. And that's not the only one. I perform many. So that's something that's the type of stuff that anybody can do. Like,
where was everybody when these miracles? Was there people around? Josiah, was there people around when these miracles were being given and happening?
Yeah, there's video record of it.
Okay.
They took videos of it as well. His family was there. This is in Kuala Lumpur. Later on, people sent me a weather forecast that showed that they were predicting thunder and lightning on the weather forecast. The thing is, I didn't check the weather forecast, and I also, like I said, it was like 95% clear skies when I said it in like the afternoon of the day. And also the specifics and the details of how precise the prophecy and the miracle was is absolutely clear. And I can send you the videos. So I have videos of it, and I have screenshots of the conversation.
Matthew Moore, you're right. These people need to be put on a fucking realm of psychology. We need to get together and write a fucking book about cult psychology, man. We could. This group could fucking write a book on motherfucking cult psychology and the tactics.
I've done things like this. I played with the animals. I communicate with the dogs. I communicate with the birds. I can communicate with the plants, actually, as well. It's really beautiful. And all people can.
Can you communicate with my dogs? Huh? Will you communicate with my dogs?
I could, actually, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You could do it as well.
I do. I talk to them all the time. Yeah, I have conversations with them.
Yeah, it's like family, and they're equal in a very holy, beautiful way, I mean, I can imagine. Well, some of my dreams, like around the time when I ascended, was I was.
When did you ascend? What year did you ascend?
When I was 33, actually. And this was afterwards, after I actually made a very clear and very stern statement. I asked for help from the universe in a way, for everybody's best interest, and I made a very clear statement that I would not stop until every single person was living a heavenly life forever, even if I was the last person out of hell. And essentially that's what it was. A very powerful, very major out-of-body experience.
What caused you to ascend and become a Messiah? That's what I guess I'm kind of confused with. I don't know, kind of everything. Hold on. Josiah, hold on. All right.
Yeah.
Let me talk just for a second. We've been on an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, this whole ascension thing, like, what has given you the power to, like, be this Messiah / scientist / New Age Einstein? That's what I'm curious about. You said you stopped going to school at 3. but you understand everything, right? But yet,
Yeah.
there
So
you
I
don't,
always loved,
hold
like
on, Josiah,
what I've loved.
Josiah,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm not done, man. I'm not done.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
have a
Go ahead.
lot of questions, man. All right,
Yeah.
I get you want to talk, I get it, but let me ask questions, man. We're talking money here. All right,
Yes, sir.
come down to the secular world, okay? All
Absolutely,
right,
sir.
please
Yeah.
let's stay off the non secular realm, right? Which is you being this Messiah, all right, and
It's
talking.
actually secular as well in a way.
Okay, but let's talk planet Earth, okay? The laws surrounding our government and everything, okay? Everything, regardless of what you think or feel about perfectness and all this harm-free stuff, okay? I get it, I get it. But
Yeah.
where is your scientific backup on all the stuff you have just said?
So I have records of it, and I can prove it in all things. So whatever the scientific category is, the book actually has over 25 scientific categories around there. It's called Total Science. And so I detail it, and I can actually illustrate it. So performing miracles is one way that you can really show people how infinitely powerful your conscious mind is, doing what's best for all people. That's an easy way to do it. You can also do it technically through all types of, you can do it
Hey,
mathematically
Josiah.
as well.
Hey, keep
Yeah.
talking. I got to take my dogs out real quick, but keep talking.
Okay. So yeah, like one of the major motivating factors was just the fact, well, I mean, it was always love. And, you know, of course, like my history was, I spent a lot of time, well, I addressed all of this stuff as I went. Like when 9/11 happened, I was already watching the government and governing events at that time. I was what many people would consider a child at that time. The thing is, all children are like this. You know, everybody has this divine ability to make godly choices. And I, of course, take everything for exactly what it is, as far as I accept it for exactly what it is. So if there's massive, you know, poverty, across the planet, that's obviously something that's very important. Like if people aren't eating properly, or people aren't, all of those things that are harmful are happening, I look at it for exactly what it is. And then all of those beautiful things, people would recognize, like you can be a celebrity, you can be the richest person, you can be a Rothschild, you can be a Rockefeller, a DuPont, a Warburg, you can be some of the wealthiest people on this planet, which people equate to being powerful in a way. And you can actually see that the harm on this planet, right, a noble perspective, the harm on this planet is what actually holds people back from absolute ultimate success in a very holistic perspective. And so those parties that I was throwing, like Passion for Fashion, like, yes, I could give hundreds of people, a spectrum of pleasure, thousands of people in a different perspective, millions of people, as far as like, they could look at, beautiful bodies, or have fun with models, or, great music, all of these types of things that are really wonderful and infinite in themselves, so long as there is no harm. Whenever there is harm, then that's something that actually weakens the whole in a way. Now, the thing is, it doesn't have to weaken the individuals doing the right thing in a very important perspective. And this is where that Jesus story, if people are looking at it the right way, can do a lot of good, from recognizing that Jesus actually was not perfect by definition as far as what he chose to do and what he ended up doing as far as being crucified and all this kind of stuff. While people can recognize, if you are doing essentially what I've asked everybody to do, you can be godly powerful, and of course not to abuse your power, but to tell people the truth with the best intentions, the best genuine loving intentions. And you can literally be immortal in human form. People have been failing on earth historically because they have actually made those sacrifices to look at other life forms as though they're not equal and holy, to look at other people as though they're not equal and holy, and every harmful thing that they do hurts them. And that's where a lot of that fear comes from. Like if you're slaughtering animals, a lot of these people don't stand up because they see things like JFK or Martin Luther King. They see people getting assassinated that are spoken of. And it's actually very unfortunate, when I'm talking about speaking up in loving context, like standing up to say, hey, so long as it's harm-free, it's righteous. No matter what, any type of false doctrine, or if you have a military-industrial complex, or if you have a lot of people that hate pedophiles, or a lot of people that hate zoophilia, you have dogs, so you know, like, hey, it's, you know, it depends on how you personally
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Josiah. Hey, Josiah.
Go ahead.
Josiah, I'm pretty sure a good portion of people, probably about 99.9% of people, fucking hate pedophilia.
So that actually really depends on who you're actually measuring. I could say for a fact that the vast majority of the universe actually supports harm-free pedophilia.
What? Okay, hold up. Well, hold up. Stop. Right there, please.
Yeah.
Define harm-free pedophilia.
Okay, so you could be using the definition from Webster's definition.
Oh, I'm just define. What is no? It's Josiah. It's not any definition from anywhere. Okay, it's not any definition from anywhere. It's your definition of harm-free pedophilia. What is it?
So it would be any love to any child, because that's what. Right? Any love to any child. And that's a derivative, you could say, or a short form of the definition from Google, which is one of the most widely used search engines for word definition, which is also from Oxford Languages, which is also very widespread, as well as Cambridge dictionaries, as well as you could say the original, like, kind of Greco-Roman Latin definition, which means essentially, in a way, child-friendly. Child-friendly, child-loving, for an example. And so when you understand that love is a positive energy, like an interaction, right? And you look up sexual, for an example, what it means, like relating to the instincts, intimacies, interests, like loving exchanges of energy, you can see that every healthy person in the universe, as far as completely healthy, is a pedophile, loves children. Just like how you can say in a different perspective, doesn't mean they have to have intercourse with a child, as far as like a penis.
So by definition, I'm a pedophile.
If you love children, yes, in your own configuration. Like if you love children, then you're healthy. And if you love children,
what's the youngest person you've ever slept with if they were talking pedophilia?
So as far as like have intercourse with?
Yes, correct. Penile to vaginal.
Yeah, she's probably around 16 or so.
Okay.
When I was around 21.
Oh, okay. Where was that at?
That was in Central Oregon on the Indian Reservation. I lived on the Indian Reservation for about 2 or 3 years, maybe around 2 years or so, which was a very eye-opening experience as well.
So you're Native American too?
My mother, on my mother's side, she's from Mississippi, and she's shared that we are part of Choctaw Chickasaw, which is a sub-tribe of the Cheyenne.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can continue this conversation on some more. That's for sure.
It's been a beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
And as many people that have this knowledge and understand this, the more powerful and happy, this planet's going to be.
Yeah.
And we're really at that moment,
like
a full, like, worldwide rapture of restored and developed consciousness, for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Are you free to speak some more tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
okay.
That sounds good.
Is this time about this a good time for you?
That sounds good.
Okay, perfect. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Josiah.
Okay, all right. Have a good one, brother.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.